Olivia stepped into the restaurant wearing a soft navy dress and silver heels that clicked gently on the tile floor. Her heart beat with quiet hope. It was their 10th anniversary, 10 years of marriage, of building a life. She had imagined candles, soft music, maybe a small wrapped box waiting at the table. Instead, she saw Marcus already seated at a corner table. He was laughing, not just smiling, laughing like he hadn't in a long time. Sitting across from him was a woman Olivia didn't recognize at first. The woman had perfect posture, a red dress, and bright lipstick that matched her smile. Then it clicked. Vanessa. The ex. The one Olivia had heard about in passing, always with a strange softness in Marcus's voice. Vanessa loved that book, or Vanessa used to cook like that. The one Olivia never met, but never forgot. Marcus waved Olivia over cheerful. There you are, Liv. I was starting to think you got lost. Olivia walked over slowly, every step louder in her ears than the music playing around them. She looked from Marcus to Vanessa, then back again. I wanted to surprise you, Marcus said, standing up to kiss her cheek. His voice was light, like this was normal. Look who's in town, Vanessa. Can you believe it? Olivia looked at Vanessa, who smiled and offered her hand. Hi. I've heard so much about you. Olivia shook it, her fingers cold. Marcus gestured to the empty seat. Sit. I thought it would be fun. You know, mark the past and the present all at once. Fun. She sat quietly, her lips pressed together in a tight, polite smile, her hands folded in her lap. She didn't trust her voice. Marcus ordered wine for the table without asking her. Then he and Vanessa talked. About old college stories. About a concert they went to. About the time they got caught in the rain and ended up dancing in the street. He laughed with her like Olivia wasn't even there. Vanessa chimed in, flattered by the attention. You always remembered the details, Marcus. That was such a wild night. Olivia looked down at the menu she hadn't touched. Her eyes traced the words, but she wasn't reading. Every now and then, Marcus would glance at her. You okay, Liv? She nodded once. Still silent. Her silence stretched like glass between them, clear, unbroken, sharp. When the waiter came, he smiled and asked, And for you, ma'am? Olivia looked up, finally. She met Marcus's eyes, then Vanessa's. No anger. No tears. Just a quiet stillness in her face. She stood slowly. Thank you, she said softly to both of them. Then she picked up her purse, turned, and walked out. The door closed behind her with a gentle click. In the early years, Olivia and Marcus were in love. They were young, full of plans, and excited to build a future together. Olivia had just started law school, and Marcus was trying to launch a tech startup from their tiny apartment. Money was tight, but they were happy. They laughed a lot back then. Evenings were for cheap takeout and dreams about what they would become. But when Marcus's business started growing, they had to make choices. One day, he sat her down and said he needed more help, more time, more support. Olivia looked at her books, then at Marcus, and chose him. She left law school, thinking it was just for a little while. She believed in his dream. She thought, we'll build it together. So she became the steady one, the homemaker, the quiet force behind the scenes. She cooked, cleaned, kept everything running. She told herself it was just temporary, that one day she'd return to her dreams. But time passed. Marcus changed. He stopped asking about her day, stopped noticing when she looked tired, or when she stayed up late reading law articles just to keep her mind sharp. He got busy, always working, always somewhere else. His startup took off, and he became someone new, someone louder, more proud, less patient. He started correcting her in front of others. Small things at first, the way she said a word or forgot a detail. Then it grew. He would talk over her in conversations, brush off her opinions, sometimes ignore her completely. The love was still there, maybe, but it had changed shape. Now it came in short bursts. A kind word here, a kiss on the forehead when she was asleep, a quick thanks before rushing out the door. But not real connection. Not anymore. Olivia began to feel invisible in her own home. She would cook dinner, set the table, and wait. Some nights he didn't come. Other nights he ate silently in front of his phone. She texted him things that went unread. She cried in the shower, the only place she felt safe enough to fall apart. And always, in the background, there was Vanessa. Olivia had never met her, but she knew the name well. Vanessa used to love this song, Marcus would say. Or, Vanessa and I hiked that trail once. It was amazing. There was a softness in his voice when he spoke of her, a faraway look that Olivia recognized. She was the one who had said no to Marcus all those years ago, the one he couldn't forget. Olivia never said anything. What could she say? Instead, she started writing in a journal, just a little at first. Thoughts she didn't have space to speak aloud. Sadness she couldn't share. Questions she didn't know how to answer. Later, she started seeing a therapist. She didn't tell Marcus. She'd go in the afternoons while he was working and sit in that quiet room where, for once, someone really listened. Week by week, she started to feel a little stronger. Not loud, not angry, Just steady. She began reading law again, slowly. Online articles, free lectures. She still remembered the feeling of wanting more, not money or success, but meaning, purpose. On the day of their anniversary, Olivia dressed carefully. She wore the perfume he once said he liked, even though it had been years since he noticed. She didn't expect flowers or a big gift, just a little kindness. Maybe a toast. A moment that said, "You matter." She didn't expect to find him smiling across from the woman he used to love. She didn't expect that that would be the surprise. But in some quiet place inside her, maybe she wasn't surprised at all. Olivia walked out of the restaurant without looking back. Her heels clicked against the sidewalk as she moved faster, each step carrying her farther away from the life she had known. The night was cool, but she didn't notice. Her chest felt tight, her hands shaking, but her face was calm. Her phone buzzed not long after. "Marcus, come on, Liv. Don't be dramatic. It was just dinner." She didn't reply. "Marcus, you didn't even give me a chance to explain." Still nothing. Then another message. "Marcus, are you seriously mad that I invited an old friend? Grow up." She turned her phone over, screen down. Later that night, while lying on the couch in the dark, Olivia opened her phone again and saw a post from Vanessa. A selfie of her and Marcus at the table, smiling. Vanessa's head tilted just enough to look close, intimate. The caption read, "Some anniversaries are meant to be shared kiss mark." Olivia stared at it for a long time. Then she blocked them both. No message. No reply. Just gone. The next day, she sat across from her therapist in the quiet, sunlit room. Her voice was low, steady. "He invited her to our anniversary dinner," Olivia said. "He said it was a surprise." Her therapist didn't look shocked, only thoughtful. She waited a moment before speaking. "It's not about what he did," she said gently. "It's about what you do now." Olivia nodded. She already knew what she needed to do. Over the next 2 days, she packed her things. Not everything, just what mattered. A few clothes, important documents, her journals, the framed photo of her parents that always sat by her bedside. She didn't slam drawers. She didn't cry. She moved like someone finishing a task they had thought about for a long time. She rented a small studio on the other side of the city. It was nothing fancy, just a clean space, white walls, quiet. But when she stood inside it for the first time, keys in hand, she felt a strange kind of peace. She didn't leave a note. She didn't call. She simply left. That evening, Marcus came home and walked into an empty house. At first, he didn't realize what had happened. He called out her name. "Olivia." Nothing. He checked the bedroom. Half the closet was empty. Her shoes were gone. So were her books, her pillow, the little mug she always used for tea. He called her. No answer. He called again. And again. By the third call, his voice was sharp with frustration. "Seriously? You're acting like a child." By the fifth, it was quieter. "Come home, please." But Olivia said nothing. He called her sister, her friend Clara, even her old coworker. No one gave him anything. Some didn't even pick up. Word was spreading, and he knew it. At first, he was confused, then angry, then afraid. But Olivia didn't come back, didn't reach out, didn't explain. She didn't have to. Her silence said everything. Marcus didn't handle silence well. He had always been the one who spoke louder, pushed harder, made the final call. But now, with Olivia gone, his voice seemed to bounce off empty walls. The silence pressed in on him, heavy and cold. He called her sister again. "Do you know where she is?" "No," her sister said flatly. "And if I did, I wouldn't tell you." He tried Clara, her oldest friend. "I just want to talk to her." "She doesn't want to talk to you," Clara replied. Then she hung up. One by one, the doors were closing. Olivia had told the truth without saying a word. He checked her bank statements, her email, the few things he still had access to. All changed, all wiped clean. He told himself she was being dramatic, overreacting, blowing things out of proportion. But deep down, he knew that wasn't true. And then he remembered something she used to say. Not often, just once or twice, and always softly. "One day, I won't explain anymore. I'll just go." She had meant it. He tried to rewrite the story in his head. He told mutual friends she was having a breakdown, that she was under stress, that she'd come around. But she didn't. Then he did something that made him feel powerful again, at least for a moment. He filed a missing person report. Not because he feared for her safety, but because being ignored hurt his pride. If the police found her, maybe she'd have to talk to him. Maybe she'd be forced to come home. A few days later, 2 officers knocked on a quiet apartment. Olivia opened it calmly. They asked if she was okay. She nodded. "I'm fine. I left on purpose." They asked if she had a message for her husband. She thought for a moment, then said, "Tell him I'm not lost. I just left. That was it. No drama. No tears. Just truth." Back in his house, Marcus stared at the wall when he heard the report. Not lost. Just left. That sentence echoed in his head, louder than any fight they'd ever had. Meanwhile, Olivia was starting over. She got a job as a paralegal in a small law firm. It wasn't glamorous, but it gave her purpose. She worked quietly, stayed late, took notes on everything. She listened more than she spoke. That's where she met Maya, a smart, sharp lawyer with a dry sense of humor and tired eyes. Maya had been through a divorce too. She didn't ask many questions, but she seemed to understand things Olivia didn't say. "You're good," Maya said one day, watching her sort case files. "You ever think about going back to law school?" Olivia gave a small smile. "I used to." "Don't just used to," Maya said. "You've still got time. You've got the brain for it." And the reason? Olivia didn't answer right away. But that night, she opened her laptop and started researching online classes, just to see. Marcus, meanwhile, was unraveling. He tried calling Vanessa. She didn't pick up. He messaged her. "That night was really special to me. I miss you." Vanessa replied 2 days later. "It was dinner, Marcus. Not a love story. Grow up." And that was that. The fantasy he'd been holding on to, the image of himself between two women, admired, wanted, shattered. He was alone. And Olivia? She was just beginning. She started taking online courses. Late at night, after work, with a cup of tea and soft music in the background. She kept studying even when she was tired, even when it hurt. She no longer waited for someone to notice her. She was building a life where she didn't have to be noticed, just respected. One day, Maya walked by her desk and saw a textbook open. "Constitutional law," she said, raising an eyebrow. "You're not kidding." Olivia looked up, smiled softly. "No, I'm not." The silence that had once been her prison was now her power. She didn't waste words. She didn't chase explanations. She just moved forward, quietly, strongly. And Marcus? He kept waiting for her to break the silence. But she never did. Olivia filed for divorce 6 months after she left. No warning to Marcus. Just official papers delivered to his door. He didn't take it well. He could have signed and let it go. But instead, he dragged it out. He hired a lawyer and pushed back on everything. Property, finances, even small things, like the car she used or a couch she had bought with her own money. "It's not about the stuff," he told his lawyer. "She walked out on me. She doesn't just get to win." He wanted to make it hard for her. He called it justice, but really it was punishment. In court, Marcus put on a show. He sat tall, wore a suit that made him look confident, even kind. He smiled at the judge, made small jokes, acted like he was the reasonable one. "She shut down," he said on the stand. "She was cold. She never communicated. I tried. I really did." He looked at Olivia while he spoke, as if trying to see if she would break. But she didn't. When it was her turn, Olivia stood slowly. Calm. No makeup to hide behind. No fake smile. She handed the judge a stack of journals, neatly bound and organized by year. 10 of them. Inside were pages and pages of her life. Dates. Notes. Conversations. Fights. Silence. Pain. She spoke in a soft voice. "These journals show what I lived through. I didn't raise my voice because I wasn't allowed to. I didn't cry out loud because I had to be strong. But I wrote everything down." She opened one journal to a marked page. Then she read, "June 2nd. He didn't come home again. I waited with dinner, candles, and a letter I wrote to tell him I missed him. When he came in past midnight, he saw the table and laughed. Said I was too sensitive. I cleaned everything up before he could see the tears." The courtroom was silent. She kept reading. "December 14th. He told me Vanessa was just a friend. Then he looked at me like I should be grateful he came home to me instead. I smiled. I swallowed it. I said nothing." She closed the journal gently. Looked up. "I stayed quiet for years. But I was never okay." The judge listened carefully. So did everyone else. When the hearing ended, the judge ruled clearly. Olivia would get her share of the property. Fair support payments. No more delays. No more games. The judge looked at Marcus and said, "You didn't just neglect your wife. You erased her." After court, Marcus followed Olivia outside. He looked smaller now. The suit didn't help. His voice had lost its strength. "Liv, can we talk? Just for a minute." She turned and looked at him. Her eyes were calm. No anger. No tears. Just peace. She didn't say a word. Then she walked away. And this time, she wasn't leaving out of pain. She was walking towards something better. 5 years passed. Olivia stood at the front of a crowded hall, wearing a black graduation robe and holding her diploma in both hands. Her name had just been called, and the room filled with applause. From the front row, Maya stood and clapped the loudest, her eyes full of pride. "You did it," she whispered when they hugged after the ceremony. Olivia smiled. "We did it." It hadn't been easy. The nights were long. The work was hard. But Olivia never gave up. She studied, she worked, she learned to believe in herself again. Slowly, her life changed. Now she was a lawyer, not just by title, but in truth. She had opened her own small practice, focused on helping women leave unhealthy relationships. Not just legally, but with dignity. She met women who looked like she once had, quiet, unsure, scared to speak. Olivia gave them more than legal advice. She gave them hope. She told them, "You don't have to scream to be strong. Sometimes silence is power too." And she meant it. Olivia wasn't bitter. She didn't waste time thinking about the past with anger. She was thankful, not for the hurt but for what it taught her. She had learned who she was. She had learned how to stand tall. Marcus still sent emails now and then. Nothing cruel. Just small messages. "Hope you're doing well. Thought of you today. Congrats on the law practice." She never replied. One day a voicemail came in. She listened to it once. Marcus's voice was softer than she remembered. "I didn't realize what I had until you said nothing." There was a pause. A deep breath. "I guess that's what finally made me listen." Olivia didn't delete the message, but she never called back. Instead, she sat at her desk, the sun pouring in through the window, and smiled. Her silence had never been weakness. It had been her revolution. The restaurant looked the same. Soft lights, quiet music, warm gold tones on the walls. But everything felt different now. Olivia walked in alone, her steps steady, her head high. She wore a simple white blouse, dark jeans, and a soft smile. There was no nervous hope in her eyes this time, only peace. The hostess led her to a table by the window, the same table from years ago. She sat down, placed her leather folder on the table, and looked around. It wasn't painful. Not anymore. She ordered a glass of red wine and took a slow sip. Then she opened the folder and signed the final papers to launch her new nonprofit, a small, focused organization to support women leaving emotionally abusive relationships. Legal help, therapy referrals, a listening ear. She had named it the second voice, for the voice women find after silence. The waiter came by and smiled politely. "Table for one?" Olivia looked up, calm and certain. She smiled. "No," she said softly. "Table for the woman I used to be." He nodded, not fully understanding, but sensing something important had been said. Outside the window, the city moved on. People hurried past. Cars flashed by. But at her table, everything was still. Olivia lifted her glass, closed her eyes for a moment, and breathed in deeply. Not goodbye out of grief. Just goodbye to the girl who once sat at this same table, waiting to be seen. She no longer waited. She had found herself. "Hey besties, thanks so much for watching till the end." Olivia's silence spoke louder than words, and her quiet goodbye became the start of something powerful. If you enjoyed this emotional roller coaster, share, comment, and subscribe for more drama-filled stories. See you in the next one. Her friends invited everyone except her to their girls' trip. She booked one seat beside. Bye.